75 Fahrenheit. What is that? Is that nice and warm? Or is that... I'm not good with Fahrenheit, fam. I'm sorry, bus. How is that? Is that good? Nice and chill. Okay, yeah, cool. I miss a bit of snow. I love the snow. I miss it. Miss it. Thanks, fam. I just gotta go, and unfortunately, it's gone down to my chest, so you can probably hear my voice is pretty crappy. I reckon we'll just get started in 3, 2, 1. Let's get started. Welcome, fam, to another week. Once again, apologies for my voice. Thank you for tuning in live to whoever's here on the live with me. And if you're watching the recording, of course, thank you for watching the recording, and make sure to drop a comment down below here on YouTube. A few things to talk about today. So we're obviously going to talk about the main 4. We always do. Then there's a couple of projects that I want to go over, and a couple of new setups for stocks. So some nice little alpha here. And of course, if you're live here with me, just make sure to bring your questions along the way. I've got the chat open, so I can just read as we go. But without any further ado, let's take a little look at usual. What we do is we always look at the macro. So where is Bitcoin dominance? Where is it leaving us? So Bitcoin dominance has finally, as we know, broke that big level that we wanted to break. We are now coming into a very, and I cannot stress this enough, important level. This area right here between the 56% all the way down to 55, but really 54% dominance is going to be of crucial importance. If for whatever reason Bitcoin was to break lower, this is going to be a major alt rally. I do expect, as you can probably see on the green box, some buying pressure. It's just normal. It's just what happens in this area. So we will probably stall here for, I'll say, at least a couple of 2 to 3 to 4 weeks, maybe, before we make any move, whether it be on the upside or the downside. So we are effectively approaching what I call a node in the market, which is this 55 to 56 to 54% Bitcoin dominance. Why is it important for us to understand not so much the price action, but this is the money that sits in Bitcoin. So at the moment, 58% of every dollar is invested in crypto, is invested in Bitcoin. We want to see that number drop. We want to see that number going lower, because if it does go lower, of course, it means that money is flowing into other assets, right? Into altcoins. So, and that's what we want to see. So we have a bit of an understanding at a macro level what we want Bitcoin dominance to do. We still have to wait a little bit, unfortunately, for this plan to eventuate. So we will see what happens in the next few weeks. Let's take a look at the price action of Bitcoin. So if you remember a little while back, I had this this is called a ghost chart, right? You can see it's basically you take a certain price action, and then you just copy and paste it. And that was kind of like my prediction, and it wasn't really too far off so far. So you can see I took this price action, which was the top, and we took it up here, and now it's kind of following the same pattern. I don't know if we're going to see this now, this drop, right? But what we can see at a weekly, and mind you, I am looking at a macro time frame, so we're looking at weekly, is quite obviously this big liquidity trend line happening right here. And what we are seeing, of course, is now potentially a bearish price action to retest this node in the market, which is very similar to what we just looked at in the Bitcoin dominance chart, right? Like I am expecting Bitcoin to retest the 105 to 100,000 in the next couple of weeks. I've been quite vocal about it. I think we're going to go lower. Mind you, this is a weekly chart. Does this mean that Aussie thinks that this is the top? I think we're pretty close. I don't know if this is going to be the top with the double capital T. You can see I've got a TP here at around 130. I think if we see 150 this cycle would be extremely lucky personally. And if you remember last week, what I did discuss is start thinking about what your take profits will be on some of the alts, right? Once that Bitcoin dominance starts to drop, and hopefully it does drop below this level, we will then have that alt rally, which means we will then be able to take profit on our alts. I think we're pretty close to the top for now, for this cycle anyway. So plan accordingly. I want to say this for the next, few months, however long it needs to be. People calling for $250,000 Bitcoin this cycle, I think, is unrealistic. So I just want to tame some expectation, and with that, we can plan accordingly. But if we want to look at more of a, say, micro level, so daily and intraday and whatnot, we can see that same level which we just highlighted in the weekly. Let me just put it here. So I'll just simply do this. So we've got it right here. And then on daily, that level coincides with a lot of imbalances, fair value gaps and whatnot. Specifically, what I really like is this 1 day, or daily, I should say, daily candle right here. This daily candle right here has all my attention. It's a candle that takes out the liquidity previous. You can see we had equal lows down here. Candle grabs liquidity, and it's followed by a big push up. And if you are one of my students, you know that this is the kind of candles that we are looking for. So I am looking officially for shorts once we get back, and if we get back into this bullish candle from Friday, so the weekend just gone last week. If we go back for whatever reason into this candle, maybe to fill some of this imbalance right here between the 114 to 113, that would be a beautiful short in my opinion there, with the target being, of course, this area right here. So that will be the short that I'll be looking for if we go back up there. So we have an idea of what is happening at a macro level, and we need to understand the importance of time frames, right? This is why I'm taking you on a journey in terms of time frames. We started on a weekly, now we're doing the daily, and now we're looking into the 4 hour. And if you look at that 4 hour candle right here, it's quite, right, imminent, and it's quite like prominent, I should say. It's quite prominent, and it's quite obvious that this was a market manipulation followed by the move down. I am expecting some sort of retest of this level right here somewhere. And the other candle that gives it away is this 4 hour candle, which was takes out liquidity on the up, takes out liquidity on the down, doesn't really know what's doing. So on a 4 hour level, we have structure potentially broken. You can see up here we just close a little bit higher than the previous high. And as long as we keep doing this micro, and I say micro because this is our range, so it's an intraday range, I am expecting price action to come back and reverse here, which is where we will take a short. So I'm not long in anything right now because my eyes are set on the bigger picture. I'm not doing long in at this stage. That doesn't make sense for me if I'm gonna be looking at shorting here, right? So that is my thought process on Bitcoin. I would love to see it coming back up here into this 4 hour candle. I don't think we'll get it, but if we do, I'll keep trying to short from different levels. So just want to give you guys a bit of an explanation as to what you'll see in the next few days from me, and as to why. The weekly is really what has my attention in terms of the bias with that candle right there. And then if we drill down into the daily and 4 hours, we have an understanding as to where we potentially might head. So any questions in the chat? Everything clear so far? Why I'll be looking for shorts and I'm not looking for longs at the moment? Let me know while I take a sip of water before I die on live. Oh, GM, Cappy. GM. Hope you heard the whole spiel. Or did you just tune in? I just went through some BTC setup. Possible setups, anyway. You can do a long, but it will be a buy to sell. Yeah, do it. I just went from macro to micro. It will be a long to short pad to answer your question. So you can. I'm not a huge fan because you're almost you're almost at halfway through a move. So if this is my range, right, this is a box, I'm almost halfway through the range. So I don't really want to long with the possibility of market coming back and liquidate me. I want to long or short at the extreme levels, which are usually the 76 levels. So if we were to come back lower and take out this liquidity grabbing wick, then I would say, yep, we can definitely try a long from here into the shorting level, which coincides with that beautiful 1 hour candle right there. But from current price action, not really. I'm not hugely interested. And in fact, look, we can even do this. And I love when all the time frames come together. This is why it's so important to do from higher to lower time frame, because it really allows you to see the full picture as opposed to just being stuck onto the 1 time frame. And you can even say this is the selling pressure right here. We are going to see some selling pressure right there. So that's what we'll be looking for shorts. Doge, we can have a look. Yeah. Look, the reality is, once you, if Bitcoin does drop from up here, all those will also go down. But mind you, we still got to do, if this move does eventuate, we still got to move another 3% on Bitcoin, which likely will see a 10% move on some of those alts. Right, so everything follows Bitcoin up and down. So I would say, if you got the longs open already, you're fine, like as long as they're in profit. But just mind you that once Bitcoin reaches these levels up here, you might want to start taking some profit and or exit those positions, because we'll likely see a further drop, and probably quite a substantial one. Because my next target, since we're talking entries, let's give you also exits. You should never enter a trade without an exit. The first exit for me will be around the 105 to 100, and potentially coming back and retest obviously the trend line, which would take us back into the, depending on how long it takes, say 90, high 90s, somewhere in the high 90s. So it's a substantial drop, which will be perfectly normal for Bitcoin. It's a 15% drop from here, and a 25% drop from the top, which is nothing crazy. Like Bitcoin does these moves all the time. You can see this was a 30% drop. This was, from high to low. This was a 33% drop. So it will feel like the end of the world to some people, but you just look at what Bitcoin and how it moves. A 25 to 35% drop in Bitcoin is perfectly normal, right? But we will see doom and gloom on the timeline, and it will be a great time for potentially getting us some of those later entries. So we've covered Bitcoin quite extensively now. To recap, just wait for the entry, for the sell signal. Ethereum, of course, we just smashed some all-time highs. We are now entering what's called we were in price discovery, and as we know, so easy. Every time we have a main cap on all-time high, all we have to do is short it, right? Which is short. So I foresee personally ETH retesting some of these lows, and I'll show you why. If we go on the weekly, we have a big indecision candle right here, and mind you, every candle tells a story, right? So all we have right now is basically, this is on the weekly, so big explosion up, take out liquidity, great, all-time high, wonderful. But what happened here really is the market talking to us and telling us that sellers were still trying to push the price lower. And market makers will definitely use those orders, which some might still be open, to come and retest them. So a sub $4,000 ETH, it's absolutely doable for me. It's I'm leaning towards almost low threes. Come back and fill some of these and some of these even. We'll see, but I'm almost guaranteed that we'll come back into this area in the next few weeks anyway. So price action, it just makes sense. We've just taken out major liquidity. A correction is perfectly normal. And if Bitcoin does end up dropping down all the way into the 90s like we just looked, we might even see a retest of this candle, which initiated the move. As you can see, this candle was the one that initiated the big move, and it will line up hopefully on a fib level as well. So if you look at that, 76 is right here. So it would just make sense for us to see it come back and retest that candle. That is more of an extreme level, but totally doable, and you got to be prepared for that, right? So do I look for shorts now? I definitely will start to look for some shorts. We had that shorts already open up there. We closed it, we took some profit. Now if I see a retest of any of these candles, this one specifically has got massively my attention. You can see this was a manipulation candle, but really even just coming back into this level right here, and the reason why it's this level is because you can see this high, this low, big beautiful level right there, come back. So a move like this will be a gorgeous short for me. I will be looking for shorts as well. So that's kind of where I'm at. And if you're also looking at a structural level, what is this? What are we making with Ethereum? Tell me in the chat. What is Ethereum building? Starts with the L. Liquidity. That's right. Massive liquidity to take lower. So it just makes sense, right? We are so focused. Everyone is in the hype form still. Oh yeah, all-time high. But really, we are gonna go and take that money eventually. So I'm positive we'll come back there. This candle is the one that I really would love to for us to come back and short. This will be an insane short. We do have a fair bit of liquidity up here as well. So a short along the lines of this would mean we will print nice and come back, and we can just literally use this as a nice TP, this candle right here, which hasn't been tested yet. You can see it. So this will be a nice short level, something like this. All right, we can delete that and just keep that there. In fact, if we want to be extremely precise, which we like to do on these lives, because we go back and we look at the trades, we can call it from there and lock it from today. Cool. Okay, so that's Ethereum, Bitcoin and Ethereum, but we will be looking for shorts. Not just yet though. We need to go a little bit higher to give us a better risk to reward before we press that sell button. Now, we talked about Bitcoin dominance, we talked about Bitcoin and Ethereum. Let's talk about Ethereum and BTC. Where does that leave us? So with Bitcoin dominance, of course, coming into a very important node in the market at the moment, we got to look at what Bitcoin is going to do likely against BTC. And we can see we have potentially what is now a very important level right here again. In terms of liquidity, we're just taking out massive liquidity. I am expecting some sort of retracement, and you can see these candles right here. And I'm gonna go and zoom in a little bit. When we see this kind of price action, and yeah, you can call it an Elliott wave. There's an Elliott wave there, and yes, we have selling pressure, da-di-da-di-da. But really, when you look at the shape of the market, I like to call it, you can see a big push up followed by a massive candle down, right? We can all see it, white candle there, followed by an massive engulfing lower. When that happens, usually there's a reversal in the market, okay? So, yeah, there's fair value gaps, of course. There's fair value gaps lower, there, okay? So all that, there's fair value gaps everywhere here. There's fair value gap right here, the first target. There's fair value gap basically from here to here to here. There's many fair value gaps. But I guess what I'm trying to say is this is a great indication followed by this that we'll likely have a reversal. And the reversal, it might be temporary. I think it's temporary. I'm not saying, oh, we're going to go back into down here. I don't think it's going to happen. I think the pullback, if this is a value Elliott wave, can be as deep as obviously 0.1, which will take us back into the 0.026. Likely won't happen. I think we will probably come back into this area, and this was the selling pressure, which got retested, and I'm going to show it to you. So this was the big buy before the big sell. Market came back here, indecision, retesting, closing orders, and then eventually the big move up. There is a chance we'll come back into this area and retest. Okay, so that will be my my guess. This live stream is getting recorded. Yes, so we are recording it. It will be cool. In fact, let me check. Yes, we're definitely recording. Wonderful. This is where I'll be looking at potentially swapping some Bitcoin for Ethereum. We were talking about it down here. We said that we wanted to look at some confirmations first. Market up, or Ethereum, I should say, absolutely bolted to the upside. So it didn't really give us the time to do that. But if you did follow another call of mine with dominance, we are starting now to see Solana doing some nice moves. So this was another move, another dominance play which we talked about, and it was Solana against ETH. So instead of doing ETH against BTC, we're doing Solana against ETH. Basically, the goal here is to try to multiply our Ethereum, so the second ticker, right? Here we're trying to multiply our BTC, here we're trying to multiply our ETH. And I said, you know, this is a great time for us to convert some Ethereum into Solana, because in the next however long, I do foresee Solana taking back some market share and taking back some strength against Ethereum. Ethereum just went on a massive run. All eyes are on Ethereum. This is where we likely want to be ahead of the game, not just following. And being ahead of the game means where is the next probable inflow of money going into? Well, we know that money goes from BTC, right? And I apologize, my writing, into the other main caps. And the other main caps are what? Ethereum and Solana, right? And if Ethereum is already getting a massive influx, boom, then the next logical coin to get a massive influx of money is going to be Solana. And you can see, I left it up here so you can see, I said on the 14th of August, I'm swapping some, swap 1 Ethereum into Solana, just down here, and yeah, would, you know, titillate it here for a bit. It was about, what is that, a week, 2 weeks of just no price action. And now we're starting to see finally some nice break of structure. So this is the move that I'm expecting. I will likely take some profit up here once we come back and fill some of these imbalances. If my you know, price action follows, which I think it will take obviously some time. You can see this is on a daily, so we'll likely take weeks to pan out, but you never know in crypto because it might explosive. Swapped 1 ETH down here, I'll swap back for 1.8 ETH, so double my ETH pretty much. So this is the dominance game, and I know it might be a little bit hard to understand at first, but once you get the hang of it, you can basically just multiply your Bitcoin, your Ethereum, your Solana without putting in any new capital. Of course, there's a risk. The risk is we go lower, in which case, of course, you slash your holdings and your holdings are less. So there's a risk in everything, right? But so ETHBTC was a little bit too late for that, but Solana against ETH is definitely a move, which I think is still going to pay us in Ethereum really well. So let's take it back a notch now, since we are doing the main fours, and we'll have a look at where Solana is. So with, of course, BTC and ETH being bearish on the short term, we gotta kind of have a bit of a plan for Solana next up here as well. So Solana, you can see this was all-time high, so we are now approaching a really important level. No, high to low. We are sitting currently at the 50 to 61.8 node, I guess, or fib level. So this is really important, but really my attention is going to be a little bit higher into this candle. So which coincides to another important fib level, which I don't talk about a lot unless you're one of my students. It's 702, but 786 is very close there as well. So I am expecting Solana to give us another push up before coming back down, and would you see that? It's the same trend line that Ethereum has been building. So you can starting to see some patterns across all fours that are suggesting, I guess, a short-term up for potentially a drop lower. So this is where I'm going to play with Sol. XRP, very similar. We already had this setup, which just completed the other day on the weekend. So this was a nice 1 to 3. If you had it open, if you left it open, you're still going likely. And if you still have it open, there's a strong chance you'll come back into the $3.30 or thereabouts. So if you still have this setup, let it run. I say obviously trail stop loss, but this can be a nice almost 1 to 10. If you have the patience for it, of course. I close it because I don't like to have too many trades open, and I was busy on the weekend, so hits my TP and I'm out. But yeah, similar to what we just talked. There's a lot of selling pressure potentially up here into that $3.30 that we just looked at, and similar to everything else, right? I think XRP is almost down for this cycle. My take profit was going to be 4.5 to 5.5. I don't know if we're going to get up there, to be honest. This cycle anyway. I think long term will easily go into the 5 and 6, and I mean like years is. But there is a fair bit of liquidity, a chunk of liquidity being created here. There is also this one, this trend line. You can see there's liquidity everywhere. It's like it's funny, but it is what it is. So something like this to then potentially come lower is totally doable, in my opinion. Oh, look at that! Hey, oh, let's go, Pat. Let's go. Took full TP. Awesome. Love it. Love to see you guys winning. So this is my main take on the main four. All my eyes are basically on BTC dominance, BTC and Ethereum likely going to rally up before they drop, but really we've got to keep an eye on Daddy BTC and what it does. So a short from this candle right here will be my my go-to. Let's take a look at some of the olds. I said I wanted to talk about some coins. I think one of the ones that... oh, man, that's awesome. Wiggle. Love it. Pay for your 21st birthday. How good is that? Okay. So, Tau. AI project. We love it. We were buying down here. So, we got some really good entries, sub 200s. But I think we can still get some really good entry here. And what I mean is if we come back into this candle right here, and this is the one, right? The daily candle right there, which hasn't really been mitigated. And I think we'll literally just go in there now. So I'll do this and we'll just do this, right? This candle right here might give us a nice entry. And you can take this on leverage if you want to. Not my preferred area to take it because we are in the middle of a move. You can see this was the low, this was the high. We're likely around the 50% of this imaginary box, right? You can see it. Not my preferred area. If you were to take it on leverage, I'd say keep it super tight, like just above there, just below there, the previous low, because if we do fail, we'll likely end up somewhere in the low 220s. But this is definitely a potential setup for Tau. Tau is one of those coins that has a fair bit of demand. So the 786, which I like to trade off with, is obviously a fib area that gets hit and it's more extreme. But if there is a lot of demand, sometimes we don't get it, right? It's just how it is. So this will be my preferred area, which specifically gives me this one candle right here to play off of with, right? This will be my favorite trade, but I just don't know if we're going to go that lower. But a couple of setups eventuating for Tau. One now, if you want to go really low, I guess tight stop loss just under this previous low. But the second one will be down here off of this 4 hour sorry, daily, not 4 hour, daily area right here. So that would be my my ideal scenario. And I'm happy to also accumulate TAU as we go lower. You know, every $50 or so, you can just a $50 drop. So you can buy some at, you know, what is that, 300. You can buy some at 250, and then you can buy some at 200. So if you have, say, $1,000 to invest, and you say, okay, well, I don't have any TAU, I want to initiate a position, instead of waiting for the $200, which might never come, you can do a split position and do, you know, $333, $333, $333, something like that. So that way, if the market does decide to reverse, you still have exposure and you still have your toes dipped in into the project, if it's your criteria, of course. I'm a big believer in TAU, so I do think it's going to do well. And also grass, which I was skeptical about for a while, but TAU for this cycle, top of this cycle, hard to say, but probably, let's do this. Probably come back and take out this trend line here, this liquidity line. So anything above, you know, 400, 500 will be a relatively easy target. You can see my long-term take profit are 770 and 984. Those are my long-term profit. I don't know if we're going to get it this cycle. It's definitely a possibility. But yeah, once we break this liquidity trend line, I would say probably you can start scaling out, right? So if you manage to get an entry at 250, so which was the second entry of the three that we just talked about, and we get to 500, you just 2x. So take your initial out, and then you can just scale out along the way. Every $100 or so, that TAU increases. That's also an exit strategy that you can do. Hope it makes sense. So grass is another project that I think is just gearing up for a move. If you have ever studied a bit of smart money concepts or things like Wyckoff and whatnot, you know what this is called. This is basically called liquidity building, accumulation, consolidation, however you want to call it. Basically, that's it. So we're just accumulating right now. And what it means is that there's a lot of indecision, but really all we're doing is we're accumulating. We're literally physically accumulating orders, right? And then what happens usually once this kind of moves, goes sideways for a while, we usually have a rather explosive move. So this was a level of accumulation. You can see this is called a spring. So we go below, take the money, and then boom, off we go. So expecting a similar situation here for grass. I am playing this both on leverage and on portfolio. So on leverage, this is my entry. I'm still happy. I'm letting it go. It's been open now for 20 days, no dramas at all. But I will likely see some sort of red, which I'm happy to add to my position. But in terms of portfolio, eventually we'll see that move, and I love to see some take profit around the $2, so at least a 2x from where we are at now. So grass is a great opportunity, I think, for us to make some more crypto, right? Ultimately, my goal is to convert everything into Bitcoin. So if I can convert however much I have invested down here, that's a 154% move. So it's a 2.5x, not bad. Excuse me. And this brings us to the crypto project that I wanted to talk about. Next, that's cool with you guys, I was going to go through a couple of stocks which I have on my radar. So the first one is Pernod Ricard, which you may or may not know. It's basically a very large alcohol distribution company. They have champagnes, they have all sorts of spirits and whatnot. At a macro level, it's getting real interesting. So if you look it up, they service some of the main club around the world, and if you're French, you definitely know them. But Pernod Ricard is a very large brand. You can see low was back in 2009, big crash, high back up here in 2023. We have now tapped almost the 76. So I'd love to see another small push down, before I am bidding, and this is available on Euronext. So it's an European stock for all of our European friends, but I'm fairly sure you can also trade a lot of these now on international brokers. So have a look, put it on your radar, and the level that I'll be looking at playing off of is, and I'll give it to you, as soon as we come back, basically, and tap this liquidity right here. So from $85 down, I will initiate a position. This is not going to be an option trade. This is going to be a portfolio trade. From 85 to 75 is going to be my main buy area. And you can see we're starting to break some structure on the daily. So structure broken, and we've gone from lower lows to now higher lows, and from lower highs into higher highs. So we're starting to see some signs of reversal. Whether it's a full reversal or just a reversal remain to be seen. But Pernod Ricard is definitely something. It's a stock that I've been watching for months, so I don't just come and give you something, you know, straight out of the bat. I'm waiting to call it fully, but I'm putting it on the radar because we could be seeing this kind of price action where we temporarily broke structure and then we continue lower. And if you see what level that happened under 50%. So this is why it's so important to have your fib levels always marked up, because they do work. Fib levels do work. And you can see at the 618, what do we see? We see some sort of indecision and then a price drop. So I want to see another push down into the 76 before I fully call it. But put it on your radar. Another one that I discussed for I don't know however many months with you guys now was coffee. And if you did follow that coffee call, we were waiting for the deploy everything, but I said anything above 290, it's a DCI zone, and we literally came back 290. I was lucky to get some entries down here, not the full position, unfortunately. My full position was going to be at 260, never got triggered, but this is why it's so important to have levels, because you still get some sort of exposure. And would you look at that, coffee is now just done an absolute monster move. So I do expect coffee to go up. And when I say coffee, I mean like legit coffee contract. You can buy coffee cash contracts. I do expect coffee to go into the 500, 600 quite easily. So probably wouldn't buy now at this high. I don't know if we're going to see a pullback. There's a lot of geopolitical reasons why I think coffee is not necessarily going to come too low. There's tariffs involved. There's bad vintages. There's bad low stock and all that. So I just would love to know in the chat if you managed to get some of the coffee when I was talking about it, literally basically from April, I think it was. Would love to know. But in terms of potential stock plays from now, everything on the timeline is screaming cracker barrel, da-di-da-di-da. I'm a buyer. I wish I bought yesterday. I wanted to buy, but then I had to go out last night and I forgot to set a limit order. But I'm definitely a buyer from here. Macro level, great chart. Look at where we are now. Once again, on the weekly. This stock is, I'll give it a second. I need to, there. So weekly chart, low, high. Where are we now? Where did we reverse? Tell me in the chat. What area did we reverse in? In our favorite fib pocket. Do you all see that? Low, low, high, high. Boom. Classic. That's it. In a classic 786. Like you can't make this stuff up, right? You can't make it up. And what we're going to see now is we're likely going to take out these highs. We're likely going to continue higher. So I'm a buyer. I'm going to set up some limit orders tonight at $62. So I'm likely going to come back into 120s, potentially even higher. When there's fight on the timeline, usually that's when you want to buy. You want to see things investigated. I know it sounds weird, it sounds strange, but that's how you want to buy a discount effectively. So cracker barrel is a call that I'm making, and I'll be buying off now. Ideally, I wanted to buy yesterday, so I wanted to call it here for you guys at 50.54. Unfortunately, yeah, I had to go somewhere last night, and I didn't call it, and it did a 10% move already. But I'm happy to call it here at $62 and still look at at a 100% move in the coming weeks, months, and come and take out this liquidity right here. So nice 100% move on Cracker Barrel. I think it's dialed. So you heard here first. Another one, stock play, that I think it's going to potentially give us some insane risk to reward, but this is a massively risky move. So depending on your risk appetite, shout out to Maxo for sharing about this. So I'm looking into Plug. Yeah, what a chart, hey? But this is kind of what we want to buy. So this is Plug Power. So hydrogen company, absolutely melted, right? Like we've gone from, what is that, $75 to $1.62 now. And mind you, this thing went down all the way to 70 cents. So it did like a 99.5, something like that, retracement. The reason why I like this chart is this. Who can see it? What can you see when I do this? Let me turn off the pie. Yeah, it looks like a meme coin. But what can you see in this chart that grabs your attention? And if you follow my stock trades, you know that this is how we find some really, that's it. T-Bone, you got it. You got it. Now, look at this. So, what we have is an insane amount of volume, right? Insane. You can see we've gone from this much to this much. And if you look at the chart itself, you would expect, with that amount of volume, a huge candle, right? You would usually, when there's that much volume, you expect huge amount of volume, means huge amount of candles usually, unless there's a thing called absorption. Look at this tiny little candle. This is where all that massive volume on a weekly came in. Yeah, so insane volume, small candle, absorption. We're about to see a reversal on this chart. And usually when these things happen, you can see your volume goes up, you know, somewhere here, TP, $7, $8. This could be a potential 10x in the relatively short-ish term. When I say short-ish, I mean a few months. But really, I'll be looking at potentially exiting a fair bit, you know, around the $7. So definitely something that has got a risk to reward factor for me. And even if we were to come back into some of these, you know, some of these levels up here, not necessarily all the way to the top, but just there, that's a almost 8x. So bit of a weird one here. I wouldn't go and say deploy all of your capital into Plug, but the risk to reward is there. Makes sense. The company is making money. If you go and have a look on best way to check financial is what Yahoo Finance. It gives you all the details. They're pulling about 700 millions at the moment, so they are making money, and the volume is just there. The earnings were negative, which is fine. Let them come down, but yeah, something to put on your chart. You know, if you've got a spare $100 and you want to put it on something and you want to, you know, turn into 1,000, well, that's a good way to do it. So, and look, if you're feeling brave and adventurous, you might be even do an option. I wouldn't personally do an option on this, too risky, unless you can do an insane. It's Yahoo Finance. Yahoo. Yahoo Finance. I don't know if you can see my screen. Oh, you can't. No. Yeah, it's literally this is the Australian version of it. But maybe we'll make it a little bit bigger. Yahoo Finance. So finance or Yahoo. Yeah, that's it. So this is a quite an interesting stock, right? It's almost a penny stock, really. It's not pennies, but it's yeah, it's definitely low, but great risk to reward. And the last one that I wanted to talk about was something that once again we talked about months and months ago. We had the and we talked about it numerous times, mind you. Remember Intel, good old Intel. I said every time we're gonna go into the blue line, guys. From September last year, I'm talking about it. whenever it touches the blue line, go and buy some. So $20 was our buying entry. We're now starting to move back up again, and Intel has some pretty amazing, well, I guess interesting news anyway. You can see some big volume coming in as well. The government just bought effectively in the forms of bonds about 10% of the company. So it's an interesting dynamic to see US government basically owning 10% of Intel now. But what that is going to likely happen is there's going to be chips being made for likely defense or army and things like that. Obviously, we know Nvidia is the king of retail chips and whatnot. But I do see Intel being a close second. So at $24, we just, if you didn't follow the call, you probably missed the better entry, which was $20.50, and that's now a 20% move. But I do see us going back to the 30s, potentially even up high somewhere here into the low 40s. Longer term play, and even at these levels, you're looking at a 50% move. So not necessarily something to be shrugged off. Snapchat, I'm chilling on my option. Currently, it's in drawdown. Got no problems. Like this was our entry. There's some FUD happening on Snapchat at the moment with there was an investigation and whatnot. So obviously we had a nice move, retracing down. You can see the volume coming in as well. Personally, my option is taken until January 2027, so plenty of time there. I got no issues with that going a little bit lower here and maybe even coming back. So you can see it has now taken this liquidity and is likely going to go for this liquidity, so the 5 to 6, likely. Doesn't have to, but that's what I would expect it to do. Come back into this 5 to 6 temporarily, and then potentially stall there, and then start moving back up. So I'm not fussed with Snapchat. They'll figure it out. Their revenue is there. It's a long-term asymmetric bet, and I say asymmetric because remember we also had at the same time Reddit. So if you took both of them, you've got Snapchat slowly in drawdown, and then you've got Reddit at a 3x almost. So yeah, good shout there. Stingray, thank you for bringing that up to our attention. STX is indeed coming close to that entry. I was looking at the other day. It's really going for it. This is something that we looked at last week exactly. So you can see trend line grabbed, fib low to high, pocket not quite there yet. But most importantly, not so much just the fib level, but we have this gorgeous sell to buy move, which will get tapped for sure. And I did say, you can take the entry from there, but really, I'll give you guys an extra level of entry. So you can take probably the entry 2 at 57 cents, which is roughly 50% of that candle. So entry 2 can be 59. Entry 1 can be 59 cents. Entry 2 can be at 57 cents. Just gives you a slightly better risk to reward in case we go a little bit deeper into that daily candle, which I think we will. So STX definitely going into that entry. We have to be a little bit cautious though. Remember with the longs, because we want to see what Bitcoin is doing first. And yes, there will be a temporary up before we go lower, but we'll get there. That's pretty much it for what I had today. We covered a fair bit, right? I thought it was something worth talking about in terms of the long term, the macro, not so much the long term, but the macro that we need to look at. Any questions in the chat, fam? Or any charts you want to look at? Let me know. We've got quite a few. Yeah, plug risk to reward is crazy. It's definitely worth, throwing a little something. Look at that volume. It's absolutely nuts. Nuts. Thank you, Stingray. Thanks, fam. I appreciate you. Really do. What's open? Is a token? Lululemon. Retail it's a tough one at the moment, man. Bus. What's the ticker on Lulu? Lulu, yeah, that's it. Let's have a look. That's definitely at an interesting level. It's coming back into that 2020 COVID candle right there. I'd love to see a little bit lower. At a instant look, I say give me 125 to 180 for Lululemon to answer your question, and that will be a nice entry. So for portfolio, something like this, right? And take profit somewhere up there. This would be a nice entry for Lululemon. Open door. Let's have a look. Thanks, Bat. Thank you, fam. I appreciate you. Let's have a look. Open. I don't know the company. Wowee. Okay, great chart. If you bought out here, phew, let's go. I hope you bought. If anyone bought here, I don't know what this is. I'm assuming something to do with, I don't know, doors, I guess. But you'll see it, right? Like what happened here. Market is going down. Volume is trending up. Volume comes in right here at the bottom. We have a major candle here with all the volume coming in, and now the question is, do we stick? I think we didn't quite close up high, but yeah, it looks like it's definitely something happening. I don't know anything about this company, so I'll have to do some digging. $39 million 7 investors over lawsuit. Finalize. Okay. Yeah. And this is what I mean. Like this is a perfect way to describe it. You want to cautiously watch the rally. Like, is this rally going to stick, or is this just what's called a dead cat bounce? We see this in meme coins all the time, right? Like absolute bottom, bang, bam, bam, boom, bam, 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 and then just stays lower. So what we want to see is effectively now is we hold this level, we come back here, we start closing higher and higher, and then this is where you can initiate a position. Sure, you didn't enter at $1, but at least you got your peace of mind that the chart is effectively going up higher, or you can just do a bit of a bet depending on your entry and start scaling in. And now, mind you, I know zero about this company, so couldn't really tell you much, but definitely volume, it's a great indicator for stocks of where that's going. So you did get in at $1.50. Wow, that is epic, man. I'll say definitely take a little bit of profit, because if you got in at $1.50, you are up, and you can see it's already starting to reverse down. So you'll be up. You were up almost 4x up here. So I hope you took some profit, and if not, you're still up now 2.5x. So definitely take some profit, because there is a really strong chance that we'll come back into this level right here, which is close to your entry. Like, you don't want to enter at $1.50 and then it comes back to $2 and it didn't take any profits. So you'll be kicking yourself. Take some out, take your initials, and then keep a moon bag. And if it does go higher, great. You're covered. You're riding risk free. That's what I would suggest personally. Hope it makes sense. Sinful tea. Yep. Is that how I see sinful tea? Sorry, sinful tea. I need to go and get myself a tea, actually. That's what I need to do. I'm interested in any company that will power data centers a year. Yeah, absolutely. I wonder if containerized nuclear will do so. That's a great asymmetric bet as well. I mentioned last week, Bus, that I personally, when it comes to crypto, at this stage of the cycle, I'm going almost all in on AI and storage solutions. So a great project for in crypto, in the crypto space, not so much in stock, but to look for, which I personally am buying quite heavily actually at this levels, is Filecoin, and we talked about it. So Filecoin is, it's got some partnership with pretty much, I'm not going to say the military, but one of the companies behind, that sponsors military and whatnot. And once again, if you know this pattern, you know what's happening right now. We are just consolidating there for quite a while. And guess what happens after we consolidate for quite a while? This kind of moves happen. So volume is starting to come in. We are in the lower end of the consolidation box, which is great. This is for me a buy almost, yeah. Sensible spot, Wiggle, for your question. Yeah. Scary brand for Maker will detract from Maker overall. I don't think it will. Money is my money, doesn't really care if they call Sky or Maker. It's just us, we us retail. Oh yeah, I don't know if I like the logo. Smart money don't care. As long as they get the APY, which they do on Maker, as long as they get their money, they don't care what it's called. So Maker is an institutional grade platform, or Sky, however you want to call it. It's an institutional grade platform, really. Retail do partake in that, but I don't think it's going to matter that much what you and I think, T-Bone. Hope it makes sense. That is it, I think, for today. Unless anyone has any other questions, we'll add that there. When you make those macro moves, do you usually take 100% of your ETH into Sol, for example? No, never. No. Okay, so last questions, and then I think we'll call it. So what Pat just asked is, when I take this dominance plays, so two coins against each other, not versus BTC, but not versus USD, but like, so for example, Solana versus Ethereum, do I take 100% of my ETH holdings and convert them into the other, in this case, into Sol? The answer is absolutely not, because what happens if we go lower, right? And there's always, like, you got to make a bullish case and you got to make a bearish case. So how much can you stomach to, and the answer is different for everyone, each and every one of us. How much can you stomach being underwater? I can tell you right now that no sane person wants to see their whole ETH holdings being underwater. You'll be like, absolutely crazy. Like you must like pain if you like that. My advice, if you do take this dominance plays, it's never to go above 10% maximum holdings. Like in my case, I just converted an ETH personally. Do with that information what you will. Can be 0.5, can be 0.1, can be whatever can be 10 ETH, can be whatever you want it to be. But I wouldn't recommend doing it for with more than 10% of your whatever coin holding, because if you do go down and you're all of a sudden you're 50% in drawdown, okay, well, I'm down 15%. That it's okay, I can stomach 15%, knowing that long term is going to go up. Hope it makes sense. But then obviously if you go up and you double, then all of a sudden, boom, you just made 20% on your holding. So that's the way I play. It is 100% a trade on its own. The reason why I take these trades is to basically have an edge against the market. So this is irrespective, these kind of trades are irrespective of what the price of Solana or ETH are doing. So I don't care. Solana can be at 500 and ETH can be at 10,000. I don't care about the trade of Solana and or ETH in this case. All I care about here is to make more Ethereum, right? That's all I care about. So that's all it is. This is a long-term play for me. This is like treated as my main goal here is not making money, is making more ETH. And in ETHBTC, my main goal there is making more BTC. Yeah. Awesome. Glad that that cleared it up. Thank you, fam. Thank you so much for tuning in. Love that this time zone works, and we're catching. Oh, thank you. And yes, it will be recorded, so we're gonna upload it. See you in a few. We go. And thank you, fam. And I'll see you guys next week for another lesson. Have a good day.